Hey there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California. And today I wanted to make a quick card using the Watercolor World stamp set. I just love maps. Anything maps, I just love. It's the idea of the unknown and seeing something new, and I could just sit and look at maps all day. I love maps. So I thought we would do that today, but first I wanted to remind you, don't forget about celebration. Today is the 19th, and so our celebration will go until February 28th. Just a few more days for that. I don't want anybody to miss out on free items. We will be using the Watercolor World stamp set today, but first we need to create our little background here. This is a really quick card. Super easy and super fast. I've got my layering vellum designs, and the one that I'm using here is the white map. So it's probably really hard for you to see it right there on camera, but we are using the white map. I've got a couple pieces of our adhesive sheets here, and I will have everything listed and linked in the description below. But let's go ahead and start with our backgrounds. So I did these two different ways. The first way is I used my blender brushes, and I've got Pacific Point and Bermuda Bay here. So you can, if you don't have alcohol markers, you can do it this way. And I'm going to try to not be so heavy-handed. I want to leave some white space around the edges. And what I'm going to do is, you can tell that there is a front and a back. I am going to flip this on the back, and I am going to go ahead and we will add some ink on here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just going to ink blend the two different colors just to get color on the back of there, so the white will stand out even more when we flip it over. And I really like the Bermuda Bay a little bit better because it gives you more of a water feel, but then the Pacific Point will give you like a deep ocean feel. So let's flip that over and see what we get. That is so pretty. I just love that. I hope you can see all the detail in that. So we're going to leave that one like it is because I don't want to get too heavy-handed on there. And then another way that you can make your background is the alcohol marker technique. Now, I've done this several times before, but we will go ahead and we will do it again real quick. So I've got my other background here, and I am going to flip this over also. Previously, when we did this on the layering vellum, we used the black map, and it was easier to see through. But this time we're going to put it on the back. Or we put it on the front last time because we used the black map, but this time we're going to put it on the back. So I will just take some of my alcohol markers here. I've got dark Bermuda Bay. I've got dark Tahitian Tide. I want to use that brush end. And then I've also got light Tahitian Tide. And we are just going to get ink all over this. And then we will spray it with alcohol, rubbing alcohol you can buy at your drugstore. We're just going to spray that on there so we can get that alcohol moving around. And now I will bring in my hair dryer, not my heat gun, because I want to be able to set this on cool. I don't want any kind of a heat. I just want air to move that around. And there we go. That is all nice and dry. It just takes a couple seconds, and I just love that. We've got the two different blues in there. I hope you can see that. So now let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. I have it all set up on my Stamparatus. And for my vellum, I started with 6x6. You know, the sheets come in 12x12, so I just quartered it. And I have the stamp already set up in my Stamparatus. And I am going to use every single magnet that I have because I do not want this to move at all once I put my Versamark on there. So we can just kind of eyeball it, see where to put our magnets. And I want to get those on there all over because I do not want this to move. But be careful of your magnets. If they do happen to crash into each other, you could break one. So be extra careful with your magnets. I think we'll just get that like that. But that one's going to get hindered. So let's move this and then that. Out. There we go. That should be good. Just move these up a little bit. And you want to make sure, we will be using gold embossing powder. You want to make sure that you get your powder bag on there because we don't want embossing powder to stick anywhere that it shouldn't. So get that nice and coated with your powder bag. And then we will bring in our Versamark and we will ink up our stamp. And I just re-inked my Versamark here, so we should get a nice impression. And I will ink this up 2 or 3 times. I will be able to see on the vellum if I've got a good coating of that Versamark on there, even pressure. And this is a distinctive stamp, which means that you get how do you say it? You get images, different layers of ink on there. But I am going to kind of go for a whole coverage. I want coverage all over because we're using the embossing powder. And I'll show you what happened to one of my cards in a little bit when we get to that point. But we're just going to make sure that we have good coverage. There's certain areas of the map I noticed that I need to press a little bit harder on. But I think that's probably pretty good. Let's see what we got here. Let's add our powder. Oh yeah, we got good coverage on that. We'll add our powder. I think that's going to be perfect. So now I am going to heat this up, but we're working with vellum. So I just want to mention when you heat this up, make sure that your heat gun is super hot. Let it heat up for probably at least a minute before you do this. That way we can minimize the amount of time that that heat gun is on there so we don't warp our vellum. And I am going to heat the back first and then I will do the front. So let me go ahead and do that. And that's perfect. That heated up so quickly. As long as your heat gun is nice and hot and you do the back first, that'll heat up really nicely. Okay, so this was our ink blended background. I am going to go ahead and repeat the process with my alcohol marker background. Okay, now our second background is done, and I just love watching that embossing powder get shiny and change. That is so pretty. Okay, so let's put this away. And this card can be for anything. I've got a couple different sentiments I'll show you. But it can be a graduation card. It can be a card for somebody that is moving. It can be a birthday card. It can be anything. Let me try to get some of this powder off of here. So now I am just going to take my two backgrounds, and I've got my adhesive sheets here. I'm just going to attach these to the back, and I am using the larger pieces here just because I wanted to be able to trim it out without any issues. So I will go ahead and attach these. And I like to just burnish that adhesive sheet onto my project. The heat from your hand and then just burnishing it will help it stick just a little bit more. So that is one trick that I like to do every time I use the adhesive sheets. Just get that burnished on there nice. Okay, so now what we will do is we will go ahead and trim these out. I am going to walk over to my trimmer and get these all trimmed out to approximately 4 by 5 1/4, so they will sit nicely on our panel. So I will be right back. Okay, so now I've got my panels all trimmed out to approximately 4 by 5 1/4, and I've got panels. So now I need to attach these to my panels. Okay, so I've got my panels on the background, or my background on the panels, and I measured a little bit off, so I'm just going to trim that. Unfortunately, it is going to take a little bit of the islands over here off, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Okay, so I've got those trimmed, and we are ready to attach these to our card bases. These cards came together so quickly. I already did my sentiment, and for my sentiment, I chose "You Make the World a Better Place." I have gold heat embossed these to match, and I got the sentiment from our Timeless Greetings kit. This is a great stamp set. Once you use up all the contents in the kit, you still have the stamp set, which is really nice. We've got Happy Birthday, I Can Always Count on You, and of course the You Make the World a Better Place, which is what I chose for here. So let's get these attached to our panels. And I just put mini dimensionals on here because once I trimmed them out, they are very small sentiments. So let's add these just right down here in the ocean. Perfect. Then I've got my other one. It is an absolutely beautiful day here. The sun is shining. It's kind of warm. We were going through a cold spell, but it's really, really nice out today. I've got a roast in the crock pot for dinner, so that will be good. And then we've got our card base, and it looks like I'm missing one. Let me grab another card base. I will add dimensionals to these because I do want them popped up. Okay, so now we've got our panels on our card bases, and all we have to do is add our embellishments. So we've got a number of options here. We can use the gold pearls from our Festive Pearls pack, or we can use the brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. Or I also, on one of my cards, I pulled in the white from the classic matte dots, but I don't think we're going to go with that option. I think we will go with the gold. We'll use a little bit of each we'll use one pack on one card and the other pack on the other card. Let's see here. So let's add the gold over here. And I just scattered them, of course, like we always do, wherever you think they will look nice. And you get two different looks here, and I love that. I really like the alcohol marker look, but it is also very nice with the blending brushes. So those are just two options, two ways that you can make your ocean on here. How many do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's add one more to make 7. We'll put one up there. And that is one card done. Now this is the one where we used the blending brushes. And then here is the one where we used the alcohol markers. You really get more of a blended look on here. I love the way the alcohol spreads. So we will just add some of these on here. That one's pretty big. I don't think I like that big one on there. It just seems to take up too much space. I want the focus to be on my map and not necessarily the embellishment. You know what, maybe just 2 more. I don't want to put too many on here. We'll put one there. And then one more up here. That's good. All right. And we're done. That's it. Those were so quick. And like I said, these are perfect for anything. This can be a birthday card. Just put a happy birthday on the inside. And then I've got another one here. I did this. This was our sample. I did this with the blending brushes, and I got a little heavy-handed on that one. Another look here. I used white embossing powder with the white classic matte dots. And then here I've got one that I did in rainbow color with the white embossing powder. I used the blending brushes on this background. Then here's another one, a rainbow background, but I did gold embossing powder on this one. You can get so many different looks. And then here's another one that I did in gold. I was a little disappointed in my embossing powder on this one. I didn't ink it up enough with my Versamark, but I really like the alcohol background. And then here's another one. I did a layer. I don't know. I'm kind of outgrowing my layers, but I used the Greatest Journey, wishing you joy in this next adventure for my sentiment. And that can be like a graduation card. That can be a card for a friend that is moving somewhere. These are just great cards. I love the map. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Please comment, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.